Since its discovery, the interstellar object 3I/Atlas has established itself not only as a rare astronomical phenomenon, but as the epicenter of fascinating global mystery, raising the perennial and disturbing question: what if it's true? Currently, this enigmatic cosmic traveler continues its path through the solar system, moving away from Mars and heading towards solar perihelion. However, the moment of its closest approach to Earth and, subsequently, to Mars, just 30 million kilometers from the red planet, turned into a monumental missed opportunity. It was precisely at this crucial time, when all humanity was waiting for unprecedented observations, that NASA abruptly halted its operations. Officially attributed to government stalemates and budget cuts, the timing of this shutdown, known as the shutdown, at the exact moment 3I/Atlas was approaching its closest, seems to many to be too far-fetched a coincidence. The world is now trying to understand what motivated the sudden silence, and whether there is something more sinister behind the official pretext that shrouded the most important period in the history of interstellar observation. 3I/Atlas, discovered in July 2025 by the Atlas Telescope, quickly distinguished itself from its interstellar predecessors, Oumuamua and Borisov. If Oumuamua shocked with its shape and non-gravitational acceleration, and Borisov was clearly a comet, 3I/Atlas surprised scientists with unusual characteristics regarding its size, speed, and, crucially, its composition. These initial discrepancies fueled intense speculation, with many astronomers arguing that the object might not be a natural comet, but rather an alien artifact deliberately sent to our solar system. The idea that we were facing an artificial object, possibly surveillance equipment from an extraterrestrial civilization, gained traction, challenging conventional narratives about interstellar comets and asteroids. One of the most prominent proponents of the artificial hypothesis has been renowned scientist Avi Loeb, world-renowned for his investigations into alien life and the object Oumuamua. Loeb has stated on several occasions that if the absence of a cometary tail were confirmed, the object would not have simply inherited a random velocity in interstellar space, but rather would have been sent toward the inner solar system by design. This statement injected a layer of high tension into the scientific debate, forcing the community to confront the possibility that 3I/Atlas represented the first contact with non-terrestrial technology. Although subsequent observations eventually identified a cometary tail, temporarily easing the controversy over its origin, the seed of doubt planted by Loeb and the skeptical community never completely disappeared. The timing of events dramatically amplified these suspicions. Based on its trajectory and speed, scientists mapped the visitor's route in advance, knowing that it would reach its closest approach to Mars on October 3rd. This was the perfect time to utilize the fleet of observatories and rovers on Mars, such as the NavCam camera aboard Perseverance, to capture detailed images of 3I/Atlas, potentially solving the mystery of its nature. However, precisely on October 3rd, at the height of this historic expectation, NASA announced on its website that operations were halted, citing a lack of federal government funding. The shutdown, the official term for the shutdown of U.S. government agencies due to budgetary issues, arrived at the most inopportune moment imaginable. The official justification, which suggested a freeze on several projects and, consequently, crucial observations of the interstellar object, immediately raised a chorus of suspicion. Was the shutdown an inescapable budgetary factor, or a convenient smokescreen to hide something that had been discovered in Martian orbit? The immediate effect of the shutdown was to fuel cover-up theories on an unprecedented scale. Days after the shutdown was announced, NASA released 2 images taken by the NavCam aboard Perseverance. Although they had been previously scheduled for capture, the manner in which they were released, without official confirmation that the elongated, mysterious object depicted in them was indeed 3I/Atlas, only intensified skepticism. The agency simply released the images and allowed speculation to run wild, with some scientists suggesting the image could simply be one of Mars's small moons, while others, convinced, point to the trail of the interstellar visitor. The fact that these ambiguous images emerged from a last-minute shutdown only heightened the conviction that essential information was being withheld. The lack of clear information in the NavCam images, however, proved to be a warning sign in itself. Scientist Avi Loeb quickly returned to analyze the visual data. He performed detailed calculations and, in his analysis, argued that the images did indeed show Three Eyes/Atlas. They indicated the absence of a visible cometary tail. Applying the spatial scale to Three Eyes/Atlas's distance from Mars at the time of capture, approximately 12,500 kilometers, Loeb determined that the elongated trail captured by the camera represented a projected length of approximately 50,000 kilometers, but without the diffuse characteristics of a tail. This discovery rekindled the central pillar of his hypothesis. The absence of a tail implies that the object is behaving artificially. The images, far from calming the debate, provided a new and alarming basis for the idea that Three Eyes/Atlas was not a harmless comet, but rather a moving entity lacking the vaporization characteristics typical of a natural celestial body. The suspicion of a coordinated cover-up quickly spread beyond NASA, encompassing the remarkable silence of all major space agencies on the planet. Even if NASA's shutdown could be attributed to government bureaucracy, why would European Space Agency, ESA, China's CNSA, and Japan's JAXA maintaining near total silence about an object of such historic importance? Theoretically, this would be a golden moment for China amid the international space race, to take the lead and release its own discoveries. The lack of coordinated statements from Beijing, Tokyo, and the Europeans can only lead to two disturbing conclusions. Either there is a high-level agreement of silence among all agencies to avoid public panic or protect critical information, or they all detected something of such magnitude that it demands a coordinated multilateral response. In a scenario of potential first extraterrestrial contact, geopolitical rivalries like those between China and the United States could, after all, be conveniently set aside. Fortunately, the ESA, in mid-October, finally partially broke this pact of silence. The European agency released recent images from Three Eyes/Atlas using its Martian probes between October 1st and 7th, confirming the likely comet's tracking. However, the delay and slowness in releasing crucial information by most agencies provoked exasperation from Avi Loeb, who criticized Earth's bureaucracy. In response to incessant questions about what he thought of the information vacuum, Loeb mocked the situation, suggesting that long delays are not a characteristic of extraterrestrial alien intelligence, but rather of Earth's human stupidity. This criticism highlights the tension between the urgency of scientific discovery and the slow pace of government and bureaucratic data sharing, further fueling the mystery. As we observe or are allowed to observe Three Eyes/Atlas's trajectory, its immediate fate is known. On October 21st, it will pass behind the sun, disappearing from our view until it reemerges on the 29th. Until then, the debate over its nature, whether it is a comet, as most scientists agree, or an artificial artifact, as skeptics led by Loeb argue, will remain raging. Space agencies, regardless of conspiracy theories or sheer bureaucratic incompetence, continue to control the narrative and data release. The mystery that hovered over Mars's orbit on October 3rd will persist, and with it, the need to continue questioning the official truth. As the interstellar object circles the star, we're left to ask, if scientists agree that it is merely a comet, what are the agencies actually observing, and why are they so reluctant to share it? What if, alarmingly, it turns out to be more than just a celestial body? The answer to what if it's true still looms large.